Hello everyone and welcome back to Sendix Weather channel. Today we take a look at the latest from the models for the next couple of weeks. We're mainly going to be focusing though on up to day 7, 8, 9 because we're focusing on the upcoming cold snap or cold spell. Which one's going to win out? We'll also have a look at the potential snow prospects into next week. At the moment, it's going to be a bit of a contrast because at the moment it's still 16 degrees. And tomorrow doesn't look too bad either. However, after Sunday, you will see a noticeable change. If you do enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. I really do appreciate your support. I also just wanted to talk a little bit about the live streams. I'm going to put them on hiatus for a little bit because I understand that there was some different things which people couldn't join and all that stuff. But it was very quiet. I only managed to get 20 minutes. I might as well just make a regular video if the viewer numbers are as they weren't too bad, but nobody was really chatting, so I didn't really have much to say other than the charts. But anyway, enough about that. Please do let me know all your comments in down below what you think to that, and we'll sort stuff out. I've got really interesting things coming up in the future, so we'll just see how it all goes really. Anyway, so we've got this is the cold front on Monday at midday. On Monday, sinking southwards, and behind that, wintry showers are emerging in northern England and southern Scotland. Even in Scotland, some of this is turning to rain, but a lot of it is wintry over the higher ground. Tuesday looks mainly dry on this model, but there are a few patchy showers in the east and southeast. Some of those could be wintry, but this is just showing rain. There's a few wintry patches around. But then by Wednesday, we've got widespread showers, and they are turning wintry as you head north. Again, lots of mixing of air masses and precipitation, but some of this could be snow, especially over the early hours, see 3 a.m. About 75% of this is snow. It's very iffy and hard to say what the exact precipitation type would be. We have a look at the max temps at 3 on Thursday, 3 in the afternoon on Thursday, 5, 6 or 7s. It's not going to be snowing at that temperature, but of course it could be wrong. It could be slightly off. And look at Wednesday as well, 5, 6s and 7s. So it's going to feel quite chilly. It will feel colder than it is, but there definitely is potential for winteriness around. And if it falls overnight, it could actually accumulate. But again, temporary slushy accumulations are the most likely scenario. I'm going to swap screens now. And we're going to go straight to the GFX. Well, actually, we're going to start with the icon model to see the trend from the latest 12Z runs. So we've got at the moment high pressure to our east, slipping south, slipping to our west, to our east, I should say. High pressure to the east, slipping to our east. Low pressure to the south, bringing a little bit of rain to the far south and southwest. High pressure begins to build in the Atlantic through into next week, beginning to pull the wind and switch the wind round to a colder northerly. And we begin to sink colder air southwards. Little air masses and little trough plunging through the country there on Wednesday. That could increase snow shower risk, as you'll see in a moment. And the wind keeps in from the east-northeast until at least the 14th. Still wrapped in colder air masses. Even by the end of the 14th, we're still looking pretty cold. High pressure then sinks over the top of the country. And it's still looking pretty cold underneath. But temperatures will be rising actually in the north. But further south could actually still be quite frosty, cold, but dry. But there's wintry potential there. If we go to the icon run, this one might interest some of you. And I'm going to switch the screen again so you can see it better. There you go. Look at me go. Then you can see it looks quite dry for the start of the week. Monday into Tuesday, then the wintry showers pick up. A little trough develops through Wednesday with the icon, and that actually is turning quite widely to snow. 9 a.m. on Wednesday. A lot of this is actually quite snowy for central England there. Little features can show up at short notice, but they are hard to forecast for these models. But keep an eye on. It could give a temporary covering before obviously the temperatures probably will rise as you go through the day. But there, it just shows the potential there. So the max, let's see, if there is snow falling, it'll keep the temperatures down. So the minimum temp's 0, but the max temp it could be is like there. So it could be like 7s, 8s, 9s, but it could also be 1s, 2s and 3s. It's one of those things, isn't it? You have to just work out what it's going to be on the day. Then there's a few wintry flurries around in places, as you'd expect. Next we'll have a look at the UK Met run, see what that's showing. Again, high pressure transfer into our west, that's pretty certain now. Winds are going to go into a cold northerly. It's the longevity of the cold spell that's uncertain. This one keeps the wind in from the east-northeast through Wednesday into Thursday, keeps it colder. High pressure ridges through the country by the end, so very similar to Icon, trapping the cold air in the south, but turning milder slightly further northwards, with that westerly wind beginning to return. For a time at least. It looks like it might turn colder after that. Now, we're not going to show the precip type for that run because it isn't very accurate, I found. Right, we'll have a look at the GFS next then. This has been the run which is having the wobble. It does have that high pressure moving to our west. Moves it slightly further west though, allowing more of an easterly, northeasterly, a lot drier with the with this run. High pressure kind of just sits to the west and northwest, gets rid of that cold spell by about the 13th, so very early compared to the other runs. Something to watch out for. But again, it clings onto it. High pressure just sits between Iceland and Scotland, bringing the wind in from an easterly, but it's not particularly cold. Then it sinks to our east, towards Scandinavia, and brings up a very mild southerly wind. So winter to spring, back to spring. It's just, well, spring to winter, back to spring, and then it's very mild, and Atlantic driven. High pressure taking over by the very end. That could get the temperatures into the mid-teens by the very end of the run. Very pleasant. The GEM next has... Oh, I've just clicked forward by accident. Again, that Atlantic ridging up towards Greenland. Winds in from the east-northeast. Pretty chilly. A renewed northeasterly. That could bring some colder air back in again by the 14th into the 15th. So the GM holds on to the cold slightly longer. Then that high pressure topples over the top of the country before turning more unsettled for a time and then going colder again with winds backing into the northwest by the end. And the -5 line back through the country. Finally, the ECMWF, which has been the most strongly supported, well, the most strong going for this cold spell, has again it actually is a little bit iffy tonight. Breaks down the cold spell by the 15th, but again, still quite a few, still like 4 days of cold. Keeps that high pressure to our west, brings in that east-northeasterly wind before it topples over the top of the country, and then we go west-southerly again by the end. A lot of ridging in the Atlantic, though, a lot of these runs. Ridging, blocking in the Atlantic, that's going to send the jet stream southwards and allow colder incursions at times. And we could see responses from the strat warming starting to appear in the models. Something to watch out for, I should say. If we have a look at the ensembles, this is the graph for Manchester. So we've got the temperatures at the moment are well above average. They're going to dip quite a lot. To around just slightly below, well, to quite far below average. So a 10-degree drop in upper air temperatures before returning closer to average. But again, a lot of scatter mixed in there, some colder runs and some mild runs. It's a bit of a mess. If we have a look at the ECM ensembles, there's a lot more supports for a colder scenarios. Look at that. With the midnight run, we'll have to see how the midday runs compare. But you can see it keeps it quite cold up to about the 18th of March, with a lot of these runs keeping it below the -5 line. So big differences. If we have a look at the GFS precipitation type forecast, and we go there, and we flick that down, and you can see there's a few wintry showers on Tuesday into Wednesday next week. Little low, there's that little low developing over southern Scotland, could produce a little bit of wintriness. And there's a few scattered snow showers scattered around in the north and the east. So yeah, something to watch out for. And I'll keep you posted on everything. Thank you all very much for tuning in to tonight's video. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye, everyone.